Hello students, I am Professor Ravi Prakash Patepur from Jain College of Engineering, Department of MBA. Today we are looking into the Module 2 revision video of Integrated Marketing Communication. So first thing we'll start with types of advertisement agencies. We are having 7 different types of agencies. First one is creative boutiques, second one is media buying services, third one is direct response agencies, fourth one sales promotion agencies, fifth one public relation firms, sixth one interactive agencies, and the seventh one full service agencies. So first one, creative boutiques. It provides only creative services. Their clients typically outsource only the creative part while maintaining the other services in-house. The clients do not have the requisite skills for being creative. Full services agencies sometimes outsource creative part to these boutiques. They are usually formed by people from the creative department of full service agencies who leave and form their own companies, sometimes even taking away the clients. It is mostly fee based. Second one, media buying services. They are independent companies that specialize in buying the media, particularly radio and television. These types of services have become a necessity due to proliferation of media channels. They analyze and purchase time and space. So what do you mean by time and space? For example, in a television, a particular show is being run. So in between there are some ads. So the time or the space between the first and the second half or the third half of the particular serial or series or whatever is going on, so that particular space and time is being bought by these particular agencies and being sold to the third parties or the customers who want to run their ads in that particular time duration. Developing media strategy is also sometimes part of the services provided. The business model is to buy time and space in bulk from media channels and they resell them to their clients. This makes media buying a bit costly for the clients. So the next one is direct response agencies. So these services help clients communicate directly with their consumers through telemarketing, emails and direct mail. Direct mail in the sense they post a particular letter from the customers or the companies to their customers, or they'll sell a part of the particular product, or they send a part of the product for the consumers to use. They are sometimes divisions or subsidiaries of large full service agencies. The variety of services provided by them include database management, direct mail, research, media services, and creation and production of the products or capabilities. Database development and management is becoming one of the fastest growing sectors. Most agencies work on fee basis with very few opting for commission. Next one, sales promotion agencies. They specialize in planning, developing and administering sales promotional programs such as contests, sweepstakes, refunds and rebates, premium and interactive offers and sampling programs. They coordinate their efforts with the direct response and advertising agencies of the client for maximum impact. Their compensation is generally fee based. The next one is public relation firms. These firms develop and implement programs to manage the client's publicity, image and affairs with consumers and other relevant publics. The publics may include employees, suppliers, stockholders, government, labor groups, citizen group or general public. It is important for these firms to coordinate with their clients, advertising and other promotions. Integrating public relations in marketing communication mix increases message credibility. They are generally compensated by retainers. Next one, interactive agencies. They specialize in development and strategic use of interactive marketing tools such as websites, banner ads, CD-ROMs, kiosks, etc. Successful interactive marketing programs requires expertise in technology, creative website design, database marketing, digital media, and customer relationship management. They may be subsidiaries of large full services agencies. They are an important component of integrated marketing. So next, coming to the last one, that is full service agencies. So full service agencies offer a wide range of marketing, communication and promotional services, and some of the services include planning, creating, producing advertisement, performing research, selecting media, strategic marketing planning, sales promotion, direct marketing, interactive capabilities, packaging design, public relations and publicity. So these include the overall aspects of a particular company communicating with the clients or their customers. Services offered by various agencies. The first kind of services is marketing services. It has two types, that is research and media selection. Under research, it helps in understanding the target audience. It also helps in developing advertisements. The type of research may be primary or secondary research, and it may acquire data from other syndicated research firms or consultants. And the second one is media selection. It includes analyzing, selecting and contracting for space and time in the media that will be used to deliver the client's ad message. Its objective is to ensure reach for target market and effective communication. This should be cost effective. There is a regular collection of data on demographics, magazine and newspaper readership, radio listenership, and the last one, that is the fourth one, consumers' TV viewing pattern. Coming to the second type of service, that is creative services. It is responsible for creation and execution of advertisements. The person who conceives the data and writes headlines, subheads and body copy is known as a copywriter. The art department is responsible for the ad looks. For print ads, the art director and graphic designer prepare layouts from which the final artwork is produced. For TV ads, the layout is known as storyboard. Creative department develops ads that will communicate the key points determined to be the basis of the creative strategy for the client's products. Now coming to Dagmar approach. Dagmar is acronym of defining advertising goals for measured advertising results. So what does Dagmar do is, it compares the goals with the results that we have achieved after the advertising campaign. So the basic thesis here is, communications effects are the logical basis for advertising goals and objectives against which success and failure should be measured. So Colley's rationale for communications based objectives. Advertising's job purely and simply is to communicate to a defined audience information, a frame of mind that stimulates action. Advertising succeeds or fails depending on how well it communicates the desired information and attitudes to the right people at the right time and at the right cost. According to this approach, advertising goal involves a communication task that is specific and measurable. A communication task, unlike marketing task, can be performed by and attributed to advertising rather than to a combination of several marketing factors. Colley proposed that the communication task be based on the hierarchical model of communication process, which has the following 4 stages. First one, awareness, making the consumer aware of the existence of a brand or a company. Second one is comprehension, developing an understanding of what the product is and what it will do for the consumer. Third one, conviction, developing a mental disposition in the consumer to buy the product. Fourth one is action, getting the consumer to purchase the product. So next is assessment of Dagmar model. Dagmar had considerable influence on the advertising planning process. It is used as basis for setting objectives and also to assess the effectiveness of promotional campaigns. The advertiser's focus moved from setting objective based on sales to setting it based on communication. Encouraged the measurement of stages in the response hierarchy to assess a campaign's impact. Leads to less subjectivity in setting objectives and measuring results. Leads to better communication and relationships between client and agency. So there are always criticisms to any model that is given. So there are criticisms for Dagmar approach as well. So the first one is problems with the response hierarchy. Problems with the response hierarchy. Dagmar relies on hierarchy of effects model. That is the just now that 4 steps what we have seen. So it relies on that particular model. Consumers do not always go through this sequence of communication effects before making purchase decisions has been recognized and alternative response models have been developed. Dagmar model recognizes that appropriate model response depends on situation and emphasizes identifying the sequence of decision making steps that apply in a buying situation. Second one, sales objectives. This criticism is from believers that the only relevant measure of advertising objective is sales. There is little tolerance for ads that achieve communication goals with no increase in sales. Ads are seen as being effective only if it produces consumers to make a purchase. So here what it says is, if the advertisement is not increasing the sales of the product, then it is of no use. So this is being criticized by many people, where the objective of an ad is to just give the information about the product or the service to the end customer and not more on sales. Next is practicality and cost. This is related to the difficulty in implementing Dagmar. Money must be spent on research to establish quantitative benchmark and measure changes in the response hierarchy. It is costly and time consuming. There may be disagreement regarding method, criteria and measures between different people. It was more suitable for large companies with big ad and research budget. And the fourth one is inhibition of creativity. It inhibits creativity by imposing too much structure on the people responsible for developing the advertisement. It is too concerned with quantitative assessment of a campaign's impact on awareness, brand recall or specific persuasion measure. Emphasis on meeting the number target rather than developing a message that is truly creative and contributes to brand equity. Now coming to budgeting approaches, there are 2 broad approaches. First one is the top-down approach and the second one is the built-up approach. So the first one, that is top-down approach. Budgetary amount is established at top level and then money is passed down to various departments. Budgets are predetermined and have no theoretical basis. There are 5 different methods under top-down approaches. The first one is the affordable method. Second one, arbitrary allocation. Third one, percentage of sales. Fourth one, competitive parity. And the fifth one, return on investment. The first one is the affordable method. The amount to be spent in areas like production and operations is determined. Whatever is left is allocated for advertising or promotion. This amount is considered as what the firm can afford. So the name affordable method. The task to be performed by advertising or promotion is not considered. Likelihood of under or overspending is very high. No guidelines are established for measuring the effects of various budgets. So this method basically says that whatever the company needs has been fulfilled and whatever is left is being given to the promotions or advertising. Second one is the arbitrary allocation. There is no theatrical basis and the budget is set at flat. It is based on what management feels to be necessary. There are no advantages in this method. There is no systematic thinking. No advertising objectives are being set as per the budget. Concept and purpose of advertising or promotion is ignored. Here, just arbitrarily whatever the top management thinks is necessary budget for the promotion or advertisement is being given. So there are no objectives set. There is no scheme for finding out the results of the advertisement campaign or anything. Next one, percentage of sales. It is one of the most commonly used method. The advertising or promotion budget is based on the sales of the product. The determination of the budget is done either as taking a percentage of the sales in terms of the revenue generated. The percentage is usually based on the industry standards. So the budget varies from industry to industry. Sometimes it can also be a percentage of projected sales rather than the previous year's sales. Percentage of projected sales helps in better management of changing environment as it reflects current conditions and be more appropriate. So coming to the next one, competitive parity. In this method, managers match the competitors' percentage of sales expenditures. Companies that provide competitive advertising information, trade associates and other advertising industry periodicals are a source for competitors' information. It may mean using the collective wisdom of industry because you are in par with your competitors' budget basically. So it considers competition. It may lead to stability in marketplace by minimizing marketing warfare. So next one, return on investment. So here the advertisement or the promotions are considered as investments. Here they find out whatever the amount is being set or spent on the advertisement or promotions, they try to find out the return on that particular investment. What was the increase in the sales after having a sales campaign or a promotion campaign? They basically have an comparison between before the ad campaign and the after the ad campaign. So next, moving to built up approaches. So here it helps overcoming the shortcomings of top down approach. So as you can see, there are very many disadvantages on the built up approaches or the top up approaches. So the built up approach comes up with the solution to all those problems in the above approach. So it considers the firm's communicative objective and budget is set to accomplish the communicative objectives. The idea of this method of budgeting is to ensure that the promotional mix strategies can be implemented to achieve the stated objectives. So budgeting approaches. So the steps in built-up approach process. First one is isolate objectives. So what do you mean by isolate objectives? It is about isolating the marketing objectives and communication objectives. Communication objectives are derived from marketing objectives. Communication objectives will be designed to accomplish the marketing objectives. Communication objectives must be specific, attainable, measurable and time bound. Second step, determine tasks required. It is about determining the task in strategic plan to attain the objectives established. These tasks may involve advertising in various media, sales promotion and other elements of promotional mix, each with its own role to perform. Third one, estimate required expenditures. Estimating the cost for activities mentioned in step 2. Example, it involves cost for developing awareness through advertising, trial through sampling, etc. Fourth point is monitor. Performance must be monitored and evaluated as to find out whether the budget that is allocated is enough or not for whatever steps being taken to fulfill the objectives. And the last point is re-evaluate objectives. Once the specific objectives have been attained, money must be better spent on new goals. For example, if the level of consumer awareness is achieved, the budget must be altered to stress a higher order objective such as evaluation or trial.